Hello everyone and welcome to another Dancers online lectures. Now in this lecture today we shall present to you a question that many students normally find it difficult to comprehend, even to the level of very higher biological education. Now the question here is the tissue level differences in terms of the DNA, the RNA, which is the messenger RNA, and then the proteins. What do we mean here? We mean what is the actual differences among tissues of the same cell in terms of their DNA, in terms of their messenger RNA, and in terms of their proteins. Now we are going to start with their DNAs. DNA, we know it is a genetic material. And how does it comes? Now first, we know during the embryogenesis of any organism, it is a single DNA that will be replicated into those millions and millions of DNA. So in other words, what do we mean here? We mean every tissue within a particular organism, they all contain the same type of DNA. There is no differences. It is just like if you take a mirror and you take a look at yourself, you will realize that you are seeing the original image of who you are. So in other words, what does that mean? It is the same person you are seeing in the mirror. Relate that concept to this tissue level differences in terms of DNA. It doesn't change. All the tissues in the system contains the same type of DNA, no differences. Differences lies in the quantity or the amount of DNA. That's where the differences lies. But the same DNA type is present from one tissue to the other in a specific organism. So here we said so we agreed on this, that DNA will be the same from one tissue to the other. Now let's look at the second stage where we have the messenger RNA. How does messenger RNA comes? That is during the protein synthesis. We know RNA replication, DNA will be replicated. One of the strands will be replicated to be the leading strand, and the lagging strand will be the RNA complement. So you have the RNA strand. Now that messenger RNA, which carries the information from the DNA to the proteins, we realize that this is going to be the reverse of this DNA level differences in terms of tissues. Since in your system, let's say this is the matured man, all right? So we say this is a matured man. Now look at this in the system here. Let's say this is one of the tissues here. We say this tissue might need a protein responsible to give the toughness to this particular section here. And this other tissue needs a protein that will give rigidity, or let's say flexibility, to this particular region here. So you will realize that this region and this region will code for different proteins, since they need different structural characteristics to make this organism viable. So there is going to be a need for different proteins here. And those proteins, where did they arise? They arise from the messenger RNAs. We carry that information from the DNA, transferred it to the level of the proteins. So what does that tell us? The types of messenger RNAs or RNA that we have in different tissues are going to be different based on the need of that tissue. So messenger RNA from tissue to tissue. So that is also done. Messenger RNA is going to be very different. So we have diverse messenger RNAs, and this has been proven via experiments. So there is no argument on this, but the basic concept, we need to keep it. So let's look at the proteins. Of course, since the messenger RNA are going to be different, and it is the messenger RNA that leads to the proteins, all these diverse proteins that we have in the system. Some are responsible for your phenotype, your phenotypic plasticity. Some are responsible for all those characters, the phenotypes that organisms possess at different climatic regions and environmental conditions. So you can now understand that different organisms need different proteins at different conditions. So automatically now we conclude that proteins types, the quantity is different from one organism to the other. Or we can say protein level differences is seen in both the type of the protein and the quantity of the protein in different tissues within the same organism is seen. So organisms will have different proteins in terms of quantity, in terms of types, within the same tissues or within same organisms. Within the same organism. So in a single organism, you will see different tissues will contain different quantity of proteins and different types of proteins. Again, within the same organism, different tissues will have different quantity of messenger RNAs and different types of messenger RNAs. But the same organism with all its tissues will have the same type of DNA, the same type of DNA. So the quantities might be different, but the same type of DNA. DNA differences is not seen in the tissue level. Messenger RNA and protein differences, it is what we see at the tissue differences within the same organism. So thank you for watching this video. Any question that you might have, you can send your concern to the channel, or you can contact me via my regular email address, and enjoy the video. Thank you.